point?
So they have a set meeting of every 2 weeks, every Monday. But they're doing special meetings, and I think they'll do at least once a week until they select the architectural firm. Once they get down to the 4, they'll probably take a 2-week break because they need to give them time to put their proposals together. So they are meeting at least once a week for the next month, I would say, if not more.
And are those meetings public or recorded, or how is the public interested in the content of those, or minutes posted?
So the answer is they're all public.
Okay.
The first one was Zoom, but the next one, the second one was on the 9th was in person because they wanted to talk in person for the first time, and then they decided the next two, the 16th and the 18th, will be in person in this room at 5:30 at night on both Monday and Wednesday. The 16th and the 18th will be at 5:30. The plan is to interview 4 firms each night, give them a half hour, and talk to them. There's definitely public is welcome. They do, like most boards, they do public participation at the beginning of the meeting and public participation at the end. And we did have some public at the last meeting, and we definitely had public watching us for the first Zoom.
Great.
Most of them, I think, are the professional services watching up, and seeing how it's going.
Yeah.
Some of them are citizens of the town as well. So, but everybody's welcome, and they definitely have public participation. Yes.
Bill, can you do me a favor and have Raquel send meeting notices out?
Sure.
Because I was at the first meeting.
And then we excluded you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know about last night's meeting, so, and
Yeah.
neither did Galen, so
That was my oversight. We'll fix that.
thank you so much.
Yes, because you guys are liaisons, and so we must have dropped you off. It happened so quickly, I think that we just missed
Yeah.
it. So we'll definitely make sure you guys are in the loop.
Just hope-
Apologize for that.
And if you can apologize to the group and let them know that we didn't
That
realize
you,
that there was a
that
meeting,
we
that would
didn't
be
we didn't
great.
shirk it. It was us. We will definitely take care of that. And so it's the 16th and the 18th at 5:30, both in this room, in person. And I'll make sure you're on the notice. I think I was even, probably didn't tell Dr. Cook either. So we'll fix that, getting a little started with Colliers and who's doing what, but totally my responsibility. We'll fix it. That's all I have for the new school. Do you have any other questions?
So, closing on the property, you want to share that?
Sure. Oh, yeah, that's an exciting thing. Today's Wednesday, Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We're closing tomorrow.
Wow.
So all the documents are done. It's just an electronic transfer at this point. Everything's signed. I have all the closing documents. If anybody's interested, I can share them. I think I shared them with Dr. Cook, but it just came across my desk yesterday. So tomorrow's the day. We'll own it tomorrow. So do we want to have a picnic or?
You make it sound so easy, but it was, thank you for really monitoring that and keep going. And I know you made calls to upstate New York several times to make sure things were moving along. So thank you for doing that.
I'm happy to do it. We have a long-standing relationship with the Jansons, and we acquired the high school property for the same brothers. So it was one big parcel. We bought the first 29 acres for the high school back in, I don't know when. And then we just purchased the second parcel today. So it's great. We are pursuing other options. We're looking into some regulatory issues because of permitting. So we're trying to see what other kind of options we can do to make sure the permitting goes well. And I'll keep you posted on that if anything happens. We're working with the Board of Selectmen and some other property owners to see if we can help relieve some pressures. So, as you know, the number of students has risen since we approved the project. So that's a little bit of a crunch because we have to add classrooms. Things are changing as we speak, so we'll continue to get the numbers after you approve the budget. So we'll have to address that. Very positive committee. They're very enthusiastic. Graham Curtis, who's the chairman, is really running the meeting very well, and there's a great group of professional people that are, I think, very excited to participate and get it done. So If I didn't say that, I'm pretty impressed with them, and I'm pretty excited about the excitement of all the committee members and the commitment. You know, they were ready to meet, they were ready to meet in person, they're ready to meet, you know, like next week, 2 times next week. I mean, it's nice to see. And they seem all upbeat and positive. So that is a very positive thing. So our next item, if you're ready to go on that, I have the Tecton on.
Justin is on it as well.
Yes, Justin, and there's one other person. It should be Catherine. Oh, I can see Justin up there. So if you will indulge us, we'll do a short presentation on the Brown School, tell you a little bit about Tecton and some key issues that we're going to face. We have also talked with the principals, and we'll be meeting with them in the future on the 24th. So I'll turn it right over to Justin to introduce himself and his team.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Justin Hopkins, Tecton Architects. We do have, I promise it's a brief presentation, and I can go ahead and share my screen if that's allowable. Let's see. Excellent. So we'll get full screen. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I promise it's about 10 slides. We're going to go over some team introductions, project schedule, the work completed, the work in process, and the next steps, and then open it up for Q&A and some discussion. So once again, I'm Justin Hopkins. I'm a registered architect, senior project manager, and associate principal. Catherine, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Catherine Meese. I'm a senior interior designer with Tecton. Been here about 12 years. I'm also lead AP and have EDAC certification, which is evidence-based design. And I'll be the interior designer on the project.
So Catherine and I are here before you tonight, but we have a larger team. Jeff Kaczynski has a prior commitment this evening. He's our principal in charge. And we also have Antonia Ciavarella, our sustainability and wellness expert, working on the project as well. CES is our MEPFP engineer. Derek Bride is indicated on the overall project team. Our core consultant team is CES, Michael Horton and Associates for structural engineering, and Pan American Consulting Services for cost estimation. As needed, we have a broader range of consultants that we can bring in for civil engineering, landscape architecture, acoustical engineering, and AV and technology design. So in broad summary, the milestone schedule for the work that we're looking at, the goal is to get a lot of the programming and schematic design, a lot of our interface with the faculty and staff and the principals at the Brown Intermediate School prior to breaking for the summer, so that we can really hone in on the project needs, the project requirements before everybody, while everybody is still in session. We would then go through design development and construction documentation phase through the summer, looking to complete construction documents and bidding in early fall. And this will allow us a generous time, enough lead time to get some of our procurement and long lead items, submittal review, shop drawing review ahead of schedule so that we can really hit the ground running at the start of when school breaks in 2023. So we put together a micro schedule that kind of gets us through some of our phases, starting with due diligence and going through programming and schematic design, then design development. At each threshold of this is when we envision we would be coming back to the subcommittee to give you a project update, let you know how we're going, and entertain any questions or any focused questions and approvals that we'll need. When we get through design development, we go into construction documentation and then get into the bid phase. So again, the way that we're loading the project is to get a lot of our information gathering prior to the middle of June so that we can really work through the summer and have everything prepared to go out on the street by early to mid-fall. So some of the things that we've completed, about 3 weeks ago, we toured the property, and we conducted a Matterport scan of the area, and you can see some of our team members there. What this allows us to do is really reference the existing conditions. We have existing drawings that we'll be working from and developing, but being able to get in there while school was on break really allowed us to get into detail here, so that we don't need to keep interrupting class if we need to field verify something. You know, is there a light switch or an outlet on this wall that we missed? We really have the scan to allow us to do that. We've also have contacted a utility scanning company to scan the underground piping to really understand where the sanitary and the stormwater lines at the proposed K area, that information is necessary so we can understand if we need to connect to these pipes, what conditions they are in, and if any rerouting of them need to occur, we can certainly make sure that we encumber that. We're also inputting the existing conditions into our building information model in Revit, and we're preparing some initial programming questions, anticipating a May 24th visioning session with the principals and the faculty. So a couple of key considerations that we have discussed with Bill, and we'll get into through some of our programming effort, is really making sure that we make the K-wing bona fide K experience. And that includes trying to incorporate additional daylighting in our classrooms and some of our core spaces, inputting and providing warm colors as part of the overall atmosphere. So really this becomes kind of a shared ownership with the students that will be day to day. We also want to make sure that we're cognizant of future outdoor improvements and how they relate to the interior-exterior relationship. We want to make sure, as I mentioned, make sure that we're providing some daylighting into the existing courtyards and really building in some flexible and adaptable space. For some of the toilet core spaces that we're looking at, primarily upgrades of the toilet facilities, also making sure that we're providing our all-inclusive and gender-neutral toilet facilities as part of that. Some kind of technical things, we want to make sure that we're addressing any slab-on-grade moisture, whether it's a topical system or not, are conversations that we have in front of us. Addressing fresh air exchanges through an improved HVAC system, and really getting into the FF&E of the overall design to kind of build in that flexibility and that adaptability in our spaces. So some of our next steps, we had mentioned scheduling the visioning sessions. We do have that on the calendar for May 24th at 12 o'clock. We will be getting into the development of some conceptual design options. And it's always helpful early in the project to identify possible alternates so that we don't find ourselves in a budget issue as we get further into design. As we all know where the marketplace is, some of you may have experience with this. The things that are mission critical now are identifying, capturing cost escalation, and also capturing any lead times that may affect the overall construction of the project. So we protect the budget by providing bid alternates that we will discuss in future meetings, so that on bid day we can know what our base bid number is versus what our enhancements, whether they're material enhancements, lighting enhancements, et cetera, can be part of an evaluation once we know what the firm bid numbers are. So the schedule addresses the long lead items, protects the schedule in that way, and incorporation of bid alternates protects the budget. So these are all things that we want to make sure that we're addressing early. so that everybody is aware of the decisions that we're making and options that are in front of us. We anticipate having a more formal update in terms of the design and some of our design options at the Facilities Committee meeting in late June or early July. So with that, Catherine, is there anything that I missed in that broad overview, or Bill, anything that I missed that you can think of?
No, I think you covered it very well. I'd like to point out, the scanning and the review of the existing study and the team that you brought in for that April break was impressive. They just didn't send one guy or two guys, they sent the whole team, and they spent the day. And then you can see the sophisticated system they use. They scanned every room you can go walk through. And I looked at it, you can walk through every classroom, you can see every nook and cranny. That was very impressive. The enthusiasm in the team that they brought on is impressive. I couldn't be happier with what they've been doing. The next step really is to meet with the principals, I thought, maybe before the staff, and get the principals' input. But it's a very quick process. So, I'm really excited. I think you covered it. I think always the cost and scope, we always want to do more than we usually budget for. So with their help, we'll figure out what we can afford and what our priorities are. So no, thank you. I think you covered it very, very well. I think you did a nice presentation very quickly, and I think it was a great overview. Does the committee have any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
I just have a couple.
Sure.
Can we stop sharing so we can see you again?
Yes.
There you go. Hi. You can't see me, but I'm here. So I thank you. I really appreciate this update. I'm just wondering, I'm going to share an update with the full board tonight, but for future meetings, when you'll be joining us at the Facilities Committee, if we could know ahead of time so we can let the board know in general, because I think the full board would be very interested in this level of information. I'd love to hear a teeny bit more about the visiting sessions. Like, what does that look like with the principal staff? And you mentioned with the students, I'd just love to hear a little bit more about what those typically entail.
Catherine, you want to field that one?
Sure. Excuse me. So when we have a visioning session, what we like to do is kind of gather both your functional and your kind of aspirational goals. We've already talked about both schedule and budget. So what we don't want to do is kind of overpromise, but we also don't want to cut you short of what we could achieve for you. The goal is always to shoot for the stars. So we really try to capture how you work, what the goals of all the everyone in this session, which that's something that, if it's just the three principals, if it's a larger group, we trust you to bring whoever should have that voice to the table so that we can capture all of that. And we really want to understand, at the basic level, what is it that we're hoping to achieve with the project? And if we can go beyond that, what are those more aspirational goals? Sometimes we try to ask some questions to kind of, break the rules and say, okay, we just pretend, none of this is real, none of this exists. What would you do? What would you have? What would your students be able to access, or, kind of break outside of the mold and just get to the heart of some of the bigger ideas that you might have and just capture all that. What we usually do after that type of session is we go back and we try to compile all that information into a document, which is essentially going to be a living document while we continue to work with you on the project. Initially, what we do is just summarize the conversations that we had, try to capture in sort of a dashboard style, these are the goals, these are the more aspirational things, these are the opportunities that presented themselves in conversation. And then we show that back to you and have you weigh in on it and make sure that we heard you right. It's really an opportunity to clarify and make sure that we're understanding. Because sometimes when you say, when someone says this is a goal, what we might hear might be different than the way it's intended. So we like to use that document as an opportunity to just clarify and make sure that we're really at a level of understanding, and then use that as our guidepost, as we go into the actual next steps of design.
Super, thank you.
Sure.
We did talk about the June 7th meeting, your
Yep.
next facility meeting.
Yep.
So
Okay,
I'm sure they'd be happy to do the same presentation if you wanted to, and with an update, because by then we'll have met with the
Yeah.
principals by the 24th. And I will definitely talk to the principals about whether they want to bring other staff. I figured a meet and greet with the principals and them to give them, the overview first before they met with staff, but we're flexible. I know they are. I am too. So I'll talk to the principals about that.
Thank you.
It's noon during the day, so.
okay. Other questions from the committee?
Thank you. Good
Stephen?
presentation.
Stephen, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you so much. And Bill, will any of this be shared on the website, like the timeline?
So that,
Or
I'm
is
glad
that-
you just said that. I wrote a note about, I don't think we have anything on a website yet, or we haven't posted anything. And that's, one of the things I thought we would, work on. I wanted you guys to be updated. It's happening pretty quickly. They just
Yeah.
came on board. They've already made some significant progress. The next step to me is they're gonna show us their ideas
Yep.
and see how people like them. So we can definitely figure out how to start posting stuff. I'll work on that.
We are tracking on the website the 3 projects, so, anything that you want, we're able to share, I mean, some of it's
Right,
so
'cause it's-
preliminary, it probably wouldn't be right now, but in the future, we'll be able to add stuff.
Yeah, this presentation, I was thinking,
Yeah, I just
I-
think it's,
I could share that with you guys.
it's just exciting to see, we've been talking about this for a long time. And it's happening quickly and I think the community would be interested, especially those folks who are gonna have littles in the kindergarten wing, so.
Yeah, so
Thank
maybe
you.
June 7th, we'll target your next facilities committee. We could spend the whole half hour that day, committee with that.
That'd
If
be
you
great,
guys are up for that, and we'll get back to you on that.
super.
Thank you very much for your time. If there's nothing else, we can let them go.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We look forward to working with you all.
likewise, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's great. They're a great team and they, they're doing, they're really getting it off to a great start. So I'm looking forward to working with them and I think will be successful and I will, you guys know,
Super.
I'll email you the presentation too. I didn't want to email until they were finished. It might be a draft.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, that's all I have. The only other, that's it.
Great.
So the next item I have is the Polson improvements. The Polson and Brown improvements are, the front entry courtyard, sort of classroom area in the courtyard. Polson, of course, is significantly more. Polson has, we're working on today we met with Catherine and Martha Curran, thank you. Catherine and Martha for the front hallway, picking out colors and wall treatments and, just the finishes of the office and the walls. So that was exciting. We've been meeting every couple of weeks with the contractors and the architects. Hopefully we'll have everything and all the material. I mean, we've had plenty of time, but it's always to the crunch time. It's something that someone says is available and now we're trying to get it. We've already had to change colors a couple times because the color that we selected wouldn't be available. So picking and changing is part of the deal. If we want to get it for the beginning of school, which we do, that's our goal. Don't really have much to update you on, but other than been working on it, and at any time I'd be happy to go over the details of this project. If you're interested in what we're selecting and the colors, I'd be happy to bring that to you. Same thing, we could do a little PowerPoint presentation if you're interested.
Bill, you had mentioned, so over the summer when the work is being done, the office areas will be inaccessible to staff, is that right?
That is correct.
So will they just, if they need to work, they'll work somewhere else or work remotely, like Mrs. Howard, Mrs. Curran?
So Polson School, I believe we're gonna move them
Okay,
to the library.
oh, okay, so they
Yeah.
can be in the building, they just transfer their office.
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll be in the library, it's called the media center now, right? Media
Yes.
center. But the schools are not open to the public and
Right.
they're not open to any operations because some of the work will involve environmental issues that we just don't want people around. But it's totally safe. Staff is acceptable or allowed if the principal allows them, I mean? They have to contact the principal to get into the building. both schools. Frank, I don't know we haven't really agreed on where he's going. He's much more flexible and, he doesn't have a lot of stuff. And we're not doing as much in his office area. He will be displaced though, and the office will be down.
Yep.
But he can go into the offices behind. There's, it used to be guidance. I don't know if it's still guidance back there.
School council.
Okay, school council.
Doing good.
And so their office is back there. He can be very close, but he will not be in the main office.
Got it.
But he'll be available and the schools will be, phones and networks gonna work. And, but the front entries will be not accessible to the public.
And Bill, you shared with the committee that the Polson HVAC improvement project, that's, the one that's kind of running a little bit, it's not behind, it's just that we're focusing on the other two, appropriately so, because we have a deadline for those. Can you update the committee on where the HVAC?
Yes.
project is? Yeah.
So we hired colliers for all three projects. And of course, we focused primarily on this project, Brown School. We brought that up to the plate and we've hired, the services. We really moved fast on this because we wanted the next summer. The new schools is moving very fast with the new committee. And the Polson one is actually doing pretty well as well. Chuck and I are working on an RFP, but we really haven't decided on the approach. Historically, you hire an engineering architectural firm. This is mostly heating and air conditioning. So we're talking about different ideas, maybe hiring an engineering firm that specializes in renewable energy and mechanical, and have them hire an architect to help. I actually do have a meeting with a firm this Friday, to talk about maybe a design build kind of concept. They're a design build company that does mechanical and electrical, and I'm talking to their mechanical guy just about ideas, because we need to approach this a little different than our traditional ways. We're hoping the original plan is to do it over the next 3 summers, 23, 24, and 25. But it's a lot of work in that period of time. There's only 7-8 weeks of summer. Can it be done? The key is not to disrupt the students, but if we want to get it in and match that 25 day, we might have to have some disruption. So the strategy is try to figure out the best way. How can we do all the mechanical in 100% of the building when it's going to be operating? And we're talking about a significant amount of work that no one's really going to see, but it's going to disrupt the whole school.
Yeah.
Every, electrical, mechanical, there's only half the place has air conditioning. It's a 1960 building, and so is the electricity. So that, and we want to also tie it into the town's generator plan, which is not totally funded, but we would like to try to coordinate that. And which isn't totally funded is we'd like to do renewable energy, because when we did the $20 million budget, we did replace in kind. So we're trying to see where we can get grants. And if we have to wait an extra year because we get grants for renewable energy or the grant for the generator and it makes more sense, we're trying to figure out what's the best way to get the project done with the most fiscal dollars that we can come up with. So it's not a traditional plan. And I'm looking outside the box and I'm looking for other alternatives that might make the project better. So once again, that's a really exciting project too, because it's so unique. And we're just, Chuck and I are trying to look for other alternatives. So very excited.
Sounds great.
And I don't have a schedule or a plan. And we're gonna need more money if we want to do all the stuff that we added on to the original scope. We can do replace in kind for the 20 million for sure, but is that the right thing to do? So exciting.
You got a lot on your plate, Bill.
Yeah, it's exciting.
You'll have to think about.
So that's the Brown and Polson update. The next one is the EV chargers. The RFP is going to go out Thursday. There's 13 locations throughout the town, and 3 of the locations are the schools. Brown School, and Brown School, we're looking at the upper parking lot and the lower parking lot. So 2 locations at Brown. Polson underneath the solar panels in the parking lot, and the same at hand. So those are the 3 sites. The we'll put an RFP, request for proposals. They'll require them to manage the project, manage the EV chargers, maintain them and take care of them, and apply for the appropriate rebates. So, and then we need to get it funded through the town. So, and if we qualify for the rebates, it's a significant project and it's a significant amount of money that we'll get for them. But we'll still have to, the town will still have to ante up for a lot of money, even if they have to, do 10 cents on the dollar, still a big project. So I'm happy to go over the locations if you're interested. If not, I figured I'd just tell you where we're going.
I think we're good for the locations. There was some discussion at our last board meeting. As a group, we put forward our support for the idea that for
Yes.
the Board of Selectmen, but there was concern about, how will these be monitored or school day, and are people from outside going to be coming in and charging their cars and disrupting? So we talked about that, and I don't really think I just want to put that on your radar, that there might be more questions about how that's going to work over the course of the day. And you've seen that there'll be 10 other locations in town. They'll primarily be used, as we discussed, by school-related folks. But if there's a point at which you get more information about how they might be.
Well, I will tell you what I think the expectations that I've been articulating to everyone is that they are not open to the public during school time. That the Board of Education manages the use of them during school hours. And that could be during special events as well. That when the schools are not in session and our facilities are open to the public, they're gonna be open to the public. And so we could come to somebody's baseball game or lacrosse game and plug in just like they do any other activity. So that was the expectation, that they're under the control of the Board of Ed during the Board of Ed school year, and that the public is not welcome. And they won't be on any public website that say you can come plug in at the high school.
Okay.
So that's the expectation, and to me, I was very clear on that. That's a reasonable expectation, and that those requirements will be articulated by the Board of Education before we finalize anything.
Okay.
And that you will have a say and be more particular if you want, and we could say we're not gonna do it. If someone says, oh, no, we have to have 24-hour access, I'm probably gonna say, well, we're not gonna probably do it.
Right.
That's my preliminary expectation, and that I would not commit to anything for the Board of Ed without their approval, other than that you guys are generally interested in it.
Yep.
You think it's a great idea. Some of the ones that we're proposing are gonna be restricted to no public at all. We're proposing some for the police,
Yes.
for police vehicles.
Right.
We're proposing some for the town vehicles. Those aren't gonna be open to the public versus the ones we're proposing downtown Madison on the north side of the road, downtown, and the south side, they're gonna be 24 accessible.
Now, there's a cost to anybody who uses these. How does that work?
So once again, these are just preliminary ideas, but we estimate that it'll be 25 cents a KW. And that's the going rate. With that number, someone could maintain them, repair them, keep them up and running at basically zero cost to the town. If not, the town might make a little money. So the town isn't interested in making money, is my understanding. The town is interested in providing the services for no cost. And we're gonna get a significant, in round numbers, that this project is in the, $500,000. And our rebate is gonna be in the $400,000 range. So if we go forward with all this, we might decide that when we get this 13 sites, that the regulatory issues for the Board of Ed isn't acceptable to everybody, or the police don't want theirs, and the only 3 we put down are downtown. And
How
the
does it
scope
work?
might change.
Pull up? Excuse my ignorance. But
Yes.
When you stick in a credit card or something? How does it
Yes. You've already established an account. It's just like, any other kind of account. You have an account and you register and you plug in and it charges you on your account.
Got
That's my understanding. I personally never used it, but that's how it's been explained to me.
If we're gonna, one thing that board members discussed is if we're going to try to regulate the use of the outlets on the campuses,
Yes.
we might also need to consider some signage to make that clear.
Absolutely.
public.
Oh, definitely. We, that it's not welcome to the public, or it's only for staff, or it's only, this is a student one, whatever you decide, we control, and we can put the signage up, put it next to the thing.
I just raise it for the point that, first of all, just to keep in mind that signage may be part of the answer. And secondly, if there may be some mild cost associated with it.
There'll definitely be signage, I assume, and you'll know, I think when you register, I think it tells you, what my understanding is, it tells you where they are and how much they cost and what they charge and which ones are free. You know what I mean? So I think if you're in that network of electric cars, you have that app on your phone, and what it is. And I don't know if it's sophisticated enough to say that, these are open at this time of hours. I don't think we put ours at the school on that app, because it's only gonna be available to people that come and know. And I think you can regulate the staff, because one of the issues too is, people leave it there for days, you know what I mean? And, take advantage of it, so there's this charge for that, so, I think if you're a user, you know that.
Yeah.
So those things will be, any other questions about the EV?
I think we're good. Thank you, Bill.
You
Appreciate
got it.
that.
Happy to talk about it, all exciting projects, and very, very fun. I don't really have any other facility updates. This summer, we're full steam ahead doing our repairs and maintenance. We're gonna be aggressively doing some stuff with the heating, the air conditioning, the RTUs at the high school, to try to, stay ahead of some issues we have there. We're gonna definitely maintain and keep Ryerson and Jeffrey, acceptable levels, but, we are gonna be in the town campus learning center. We're putting some significant money into some repair on the roof at the town campus learning center. Someone said, "You're replacing the roof?" I'm like, I only need 3 years. I'm not gonna replace the roof, but I'm gonna make sure that it lasts for those 3 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll take care of those schools. I'll commit to that, and, whatever we need to do, but I think anything of any infrastructure or, something that we don't need to last more than 3 years, I think we're not gonna do. So that's basically the end of my report.
Questions or comments from the committee? Do we have, no, we don't have anyone online. Any members of the public in person? No. All right, I just wanted to know our next meeting, there is a change of time and location for everyone. June 7th at the Daniel Hand High School Library at 4:30. And you'll let us know, Bill, if Tecton will be joining us.
Tecton will be joining.
They will be joining us. Great,
We definitely planned on that. I thought this would be a little intro for you guys to meet them.
perfect.
And I thought by the 4th, we'd be into meetings with the board, with the principals. I don't know if we'll get to the staff, but we'll definitely need to have that set up if we're gonna meet staff before the end of the school year. And I think they're gonna have some good stuff by then. So that was really, to me, gonna be the presentation,
Excellent.
if you wanted to tell the Board of Ed members, and I did tell the principals that we were having the meeting tonight, but I told them that, they didn't really need to be involved at this point. So.
Great.
the
I'll make
June-
sure to let folks know that tonight too. That'll be a good one to join. All right. Seeing nothing else, we'll adjourn at 7:12. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah,
you,
you're
Bill.
welcome. Exciting stuff.